Let's get right to it. I got some stuff on my mind. You know me. I'm getting into my Yankees. They got a wild card game next Wednesday. It's going to be against the Oakland A's. This will be at Yankee Stadium in all likelihood. Your thoughts about their chances of advancing to the divisional playoff round against the Boston Red Sox?
Yeah, it's a tricky game against Oakland. Oakland is better than people think. They've been on fire. They have good pitching. They're young, and they believe they can win in the Bronx. The Yankees need to get past this game, and then that sets up an epic rematch. Last time the Yankees played the Red Sox in the postseason, of course, was 2004. Yankees are looking for a little rematch.
Well, being the exceptional baseball analyst that you are, I understand that you're not going to be presumptuous about the Yankees or anybody else. But I am going to assume that the Yankees are going to win that one wild card spot. That's what I do. Now, that means that they would eventually go against the Boston Red Sox. Everybody's been raving about Boston, including yourself, A-Rod. Here's my thing. I'm looking at a guy like David Price. 9 postseason starts, 5.74 ERA. I'm looking at Sale. 1 postseason start, an ERA over 12. Pitching is what wins World Series championships, in my estimation. I understand Boston has been terrific, but with 107 wins to date, is it possible that the pressure might be too much and Boston might not be up to the challenge that everybody's saying they're up to?
There's a tremendous amount of pressure on Boston. No question, going into the postseason, they've had a historic year, and it's win or bust for them. 2 things concern me tremendously about the Red Sox. Obviously, is their big guy, Chris Sale, and his health. His last start before he got injured, his average fastball was 98 miles an hour. Last night, 90. That's an 8-mile-an-hour difference. Very concerning, and the weather's getting cooler, so it should be more challenging, not easier. And then number 2, from all their starters, they have 19 career postseason starts, 0 wins. So for them, it's pitching, so it's not a home run for any means by the Red Sox.
Now, I'm not stepping out on a limb by saying that pitching wins championships. You agree with that, right?
100%.
Then why are we not mentioning the Houston Astros? Last time I checked.
Pitching, defense, and fundamentals.
I got that. But pitching, I'm going to put first on the list. So I'm wondering why we're not talking more about the reigning defending World Series champions, who, by the way, have 100 wins this year. To me, the Houston Astros should be the favorites. Why would anybody disagree with that?
There's no question on paper, Stephen A., they're the world champions. The only reason they do not win is because the hangover of the world championship from last year is so heavy on their shoulders. But with Osuna, a lockdown closer, and for me, the greatest acquisition this offseason in picking up Garrett Cole, it makes Astros the favorites to be world champs again.
Well, absolutely. And I think also the fact that Boston has been so exceptional during the regular season and the pressure has transitioned to them and it's taken a little bit off of the Houston Astros. But let me transition to the National League, because once upon a time I'm thinking Dodgers. Clayton, Kershaw, and the rest of the crew, they'll be just fine. But now suddenly the Colorado Rockies on a 6-game winning streak, and obviously they have the lead of the National League West. If the Dodgers don't win the division, then a playoff spot, a 1-game wild card spot against Chicago or Milwaukee. How much do the Dodgers need to win the National League West in order to elevate their chances of winning the pennant?
It's vital. And what they need to do, Stephen A., they need to set up the Dodgers with their pitching. The Dodgers are not going to win a championship until their best player, the face of the franchise, Clayton Kershaw, steps up in a big way. So they need to win and then set up the 1-5 and then 1-4-7 as they move on to the NLCS and then the World Series.
Should we be talking about the Chicago Cubs a little bit more than we've been?
Without a question, and that's a great point, Stephen A. Look at you. You know baseball, you know NBA.
A little bit.
That's actually very smart.
I dabble.
And I'll tell you why. Basketball has March Madness. We have October Madness. But Theo Epstein, the president of the Cubs, had the best July trading deadline in scorecard. And the reason why is in October is all about the triple T's. Trust trumps talent. And with Hamels and with Daniel Murphy, you get 2 pivotal guys that are proven and can flat out play baseball in October, and that's a good sign for the Cubs.
Let me transition away from postseason talk about baseball to just a couple of individuals here. I'm thinking about the National League Cy Young Award. Jacob deGrom has been absolutely sensational. An ERA under 2, just completely dominant, but the Mets are awful. Listen, I'm from Queens, New York, and I feel allergic to driving by Citi Field because the Mets have been so awful. But not him. He has been special. Is it a foregone conclusion that this guy needs to be the National League Cy Young Award winner?
For me, he's the Cy Young, and we're in a different era. We don't value wins, Stephen A., as we did when you and I grew up. Joel Sherman from the New York Post wrote one of the best articles I've heard, and he really capitalized and summarized how the game is being viewed today. A lot of the big numbers are devalued. And deGrom with 10 wins yesterday, another gem, 8 innings, no runs. If you had a guy that had 24 wins and was running away from it, I'll give him that. But you don't have that this year. For me, deGrom is your Cy Young.
Let me transition also to Bryce Harper because he made some news talking about his last home game and what have you. And, you know, this is a guy that once was speculated to be a $400 million player. I'm of the mindset, A-Rod, I've seen him struggle too much, be a little bit up and down. To me, he is no Mike Trout. It's not an insult. I'm a fan of Bryce Harper. But in the same breath, what would be the ideal spot for him, assuming he decides to move on from the Washington Nationals, which everybody expects him to do?
Yeah, I mean, look, Philly has an open bank. They can basically back up the truck, and they have an enormous budget to spend. I mean, they can go out and get Machado and Harper and have money to go to get more pitching. So Philadelphia's in a great economic position. But look, when you're talking about Harper, he's a guy that he's a triple threat. He can help you win games, he helps your franchise value, and he helps your TV value. So it's just a matter of who wants to take that risk. For me, I would give him more and think about shorter years, and that seems to be more the trend. But he's the one guy that if he gets $40 million, it wouldn't surprise me.